Enter the Spotlight, a series of intimate conversations about life with lymphedema with host Quabila Jones. Join me as I take you on a journey of the highs and lows and the joys and pains of life with lymphedema. For every setback, there were just as many comebacks. I hope you enjoy this journey and learn something along the way. Please subscribe, follow, like, and share the Q Spot podcast on all of the major podcast and social media platforms. And don't forget to be intentional. Hey y'all, QB here, and welcome to another segment of Into the Spotlight. So, in the first video, I shared what lymphedema is and gave you some snippets, some preludes into what I will be talking about. So, in this segment, I will be talking about the beginning, 2009, how it all began. And the crazy thing is, to this day, the doctors still don't know how it all began for me. It's safe to say that I have secondary lymphedema because it developed later in life versus primary, which develops earlier in life and in other cases. In case you missed the intro or any of my social media posts, it states this is an intimate conversation. So, yes, I'm coming to you raw and real, unfiltered. Because I don't want you to be distracted by hair, makeup, and jewelry and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be distracted because it's about the story. Again, as stated before, this is not about sympathy. It's not about boasting or bragging when I talk about the things that I accomplished. It's not about a pity party. It's simply to share information and spread awareness. So here we go. 2009. I thought I was living life okay. Um, my husband at the time and I had just got a car. Money was kind of iffy, and we were struggling to get the tags, pay the sales tax. I had been driving around on these paper tags as long as I could, and embarrassingly, I had to alter them. Well, the police pulled me over one day on the way to work. Now, that's another thing. The job that I had at the time was at a nonprofit agency, and the job was already on the brink of, well, my position was on the brink of ending. They had called me. I had been laid off. They called me back because there was a little bit of funding, but it was still iffy. It was still on shaky ground. So I had only been back to work maybe a week or two, not very long. I get pulled over. The police is asking me all these questions. He's nice about it. And, I could tell he doesn't want to take me in. He doesn't want to take my car. And so I tell him the truth. And he was like, well, I'm going to let you go with a warning. But if another officer pulls you over, I can't guarantee they won't arrest you or impound your car. So here I am stressing to the max. I tell my husband, what's happening. And I tell one of the coworkers that's one of my really good friends, I'm like, I can't do this. I want to work, but I can't. I'm going to have to take time off until I'm able to get my tags. I can't drive my car. I can't risk losing my car. This was, I want to say on a Thursday. It was in November. Over the weekend, I guess I was just super, super stressed out. So come Monday, I noticed a warm red spot on my lower, I want to say left leg. I called my supervisor, who is a doctor. Well, she's a nurse. She has a doctorate in nursing. And so she was like, you need to go to the hospital and get that checked out. Go to the hospital. The doctor says it's cellulitis. First time ever hearing that word. Okay, he gave me some antibiotics, send me on my way. Over the course of a week, I kid you not, from Monday through Friday, blisters developed on my leg. My first time ever having blisters that big. It started on my ankle. It was like a little balloon on my ankle full of fluid. Okay, so my dummy self, I popped it. That didn't make it better. No, of course not. It made it worse. So the blister spread. So here I am all week long struggling to keep my leg elevated, towels, sheets, things, not knowing that I needed bed pads or something that was more absorbent. A week goes by. By the time my husband gets home from off the road, he was a truck driver. Sorry, I didn't mention that before. By the time he gets home on Friday, I'm like, I need to go to the emergency room. This is not getting better. We go Saturday morning to the emergency room. I'm literally dragging a towel under my foot because the fluid is leaking just that bad and that fast. They check my vitals, do all the stuff, and they check me in because now I have a full blown infection. This has gotten worse. Okay, I am on IV antibiotics. I'm in the hospital. I'm stressing to the max. Some of my coworkers come to see me. One who is married to a doctor, he tries to talk me through the situation, and I'm just not trying to hear anything. I'm like, this is all brand new to me. I'm stressing, like, what is happening to me? Okay, the doctor comes in. He's like, ma'am, you need to calm down, or you're going to continue to make your body worse. He prescribes me some anxiety meds. First time ever having to take anxiety meds. I must add, they were very helpful. Okay. I stayed in the hospital about a week. So here I am with this new condition. And mind you, at the time, though, they didn't label it as lymphedema. So here I am, this new thing that's happened to me. I noticed my legs were staying extra swollen. Also want to include, yes, I had gained quite a bit of weight. I was working a desk job. Well, semi desk job. I was doing home visits, so I was getting up and out, but my eating was bad, exercise was bad, my activity level was low. So I figure all of those things contributed to the development of this condition or the onset. I also thought about when I was younger, I worked at McDonald's and I used to hit my knee every time I would walk around the counter. Boom. I don't know if I damaged some lymph nodes. I don't know if my weight gain triggered something. I and the doctors simply don't know. Back home on these antibiotics, life has been altered. And over the course of time, like literally months, I noticed excess swelling and these little growths. Um, I hate to call them tumors. They're not tumors. They're just growth. Little bulges, if you want to call it, started growing on my calf and up my thigh. And it's like, what's happening? Skin is still leaking. Oh, that's sorry, missed that point. My skin now has this leak, this drainage that has to be covered up. So that's another thing I left the hospital with was instructions on how to care for this new spot. Over the course of the months, it gets worse. Now I'm having to go to the wound care clinic. The doctor's still not labeling it as lymphedema at this time. I get progressively worse. Don't know what's happening. They do cultures where they run tests to see, what type of infection, what's happening. I'm getting instructions on how to care for and wrap, my leg with the absorbent bandages. It progresses to the point where now the doctor's like, you need to have surgery. Oh my gosh. Okay. So my life literally was turned upside down. Not only my life, I had a child who was still in school. My husband was on and off the road. So I was at home a lot by myself. I had to start depending on a lot of other people. Luckily, I was still able to drive once I got my tags on my car. I was still able to drive, but life at that moment was altered for me. Yeah, that was my introduction to lymphedema. I've talked to a lot of people, and they will say that their experience was similar to mine. They had a warm red spot that was an indicator of an infection. Yeah. Needless to say, I'm kind of over it. And as I get further along in these series of conversations, you'll hear more and more about my frustrations of dealing with this condition. Um, This is just the beginning. After things started getting progressively worse, the doctor started talking about surgery, as I mentioned before. I think I'm going to save those stories for another time. I want to thank you all for joining me for this chat, this very informal, intimate chat. Life with lymphedema. So yeah, I'm putting myself out there into the spotlight. So thank you all for joining. I hope you are becoming more aware and learning a little bit. But stay tuned. There's so much more. See you soon. Thank you for watching the Q Spot podcast video series. Don't forget to join the Q crew so you don't miss a beat. Follow, like, and share on all of my social media platforms, as well as the major podcast platforms. Lastly, be intentional with your words, your thoughts, and your actions.